Hey, Essence and Brittany, it's Andy, Dr. Ryder. I've got good news for you on your reports and whatnot for your survey. So don't be too distressed by this big thing, this big ugly thing here on your screen just yet. Close that. So using the directions that I got from the Help Center, I was able to figure out how to do two things. One, how to split kind of the raw data into two groups in the Excel spreadsheet. But I think more importantly and more helpful to you is the reports. So I don't need. If you'd like to know kind of exactly how I did this, I'm more than happy to sit down and chat with you to do that. But otherwise, what I'm going to do here is just to kind of show you, so that when the survey closes, you can go in and you can look at reports, and you see right up here where it says report, default report. Well, the default report is pretty much, as I understand it, should be everyone. Well, no, that's the 17. So you can go up here where it says report, and you can select default, hat only, or non-hat. So let's take a look at the hat only group. What I've done using the magic given to me by the help folks, and it's essentially was creating an embedded field and using the code that was assigned to each specific, to each distribution. And so the hat group does not contain this kind of multiple letter and number code, but it creates a report where you can use these visuals for just the folks in the hat group. And it's retrieving the data. Don't worry, the data will be there. This is just a bit of a time. There you go. It kind of does it as you scroll up. So you'd still be able to get to this information. Well, you can do this to go back to the top. And then we can go and we can look at the non-hat report. So that's going to be the control group. And in your survey, you're getting more responses, which makes sense because there were a few more people in, but you're getting more responses from the control group. So if you're looking at a report and it's got a higher number of responses, then you know it's probably the control. I also, by the way, when I created the report kind of generators using the filters, I set it up so that the bar graphs for each of them, the color coding is the same. It gives the numbers by the side, and it also kind of orients it so that it's by specific items. So opportunities to make friends, ability to develop relationship with at least one faculty member, etc., and so forth. If you decide that you don't like these options, you can go over here, click on these little three. Oh, maybe not there. There you go. Yeah. Let's review how we did that. This has been. So it's not clicking the dots, it's kind of clicking next to them, but it seems to work. But you can, so I changed the decimal places too, if you were to use decimal places. You could add in a title for the group of bar charts, but if there's so many of them, I wouldn't display them all on the same screen at the same time. I think you need to probably kind of think about breaking them out. But if you wanted to, as opposed to showing counts and you wanted to show percentages, you could do it that way. And so then it kind of tells you, of X number of respondents, the percentage that said, one versus the other. And then you can also, I'm gonna unclick that so that it goes back to numbers. And then you can look down here and it's going to give you just a table of the responses with the numbers here in black, the percentages down here. And you could make this so that it appears, let's see. I'm thinking about item means. Nope. Well, it wants to give you percentages, and that's maybe that's okay. Well, the metric, So if we wanted to change the metric, we can click mean. And that gives you the item mean. You can also then go in and do, so there's the mean. You can, add the min and max. You also probably want to include or have the response count. But anyway, for this kind of table, which summarizes the results from the bar chart up top, you can do some clicking and you can kind of change the data that it's going to give you for each item. Keep in mind that if you were to use this and you were to compute a mean, you'd want to report, what the number is based on, what the mean number is based on, and you'd want to report what the scale is. So a mean value of 1 would be far below expectations, and 5 would be far exceeded expectations. So just at like the bottom of the table, if you were to just report mean values as opposed to numbers of people who said, which one or whatever, just make sure that you make it clear what the scale is. 1 equals far below, 5 equals far exceeded. So the other thing to pay attention to, because you're responsible for downloading and sharing the raw data with your client, I would actually provide them with 2 different spreadsheets. And when you do so, you can download it. Your download will look something like this. You have the option to change this so that as opposed to giving these sorts of values, the text, you can make it numeric, which would be helpful as far as raw data are concerned. But note here how there's this column here called QURL, and it gives the URL for each specific survey. And the way that this is set up, this is the same for each survey. Every survey has the same common trunk, we'll say. And then this is where it gets interesting. So this Q_DL equals, these are this first set of digits right here is what differentiates the HAAT group from the control. And the control value, the HAAT value is EL1 LIT-BLY. The HAAT value, this is the HAAT group, EL1. The non-HAAT group uses 6M. So if you look here, the QDL equals 6M. And if you actually look to see how I've set up these reports, to see what the filter is, so for the non-HAAT group, the QURL value contains 6M. The non-HAAT group or the control group, if you look at the HAAT only group, the QURL does not contain. So that can be kind of like your code to look back. And so what I would then just suggest that you do is to set up your spreadsheet when you do that sort of download so that, you can either you can set it up so that, looking across these different values, you can kind of, go in and code by hand or just kind of, by typing it in and whatnot, what these specific values are, or at least give a key so that someone else could do the sorting for you, or could do the sorting themselves. At any rate, I think the upshot of this is you should be able to generate reports and graphics to use in your presentation fairly easily based on Qualtrics. The spreadsheet is actually sortable at this point so that you could, kind of create 2 groupings. What we would typically do, and I'm gonna is kind of like add a column value over here that might be, HAAT versus, you could say HAAT/non-HAAT or HAAT v non-HAAT. And then, where you see a value EL1 after the QDL equals would be your HAAT group, and QDL equals 6M4 would be the control group or the non-HAAT group. At any rate, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you've got questions. Again, I'm making a longer video than I anticipated, but it's information for you nonetheless. Thanks. Bye.